In this video, we will be talking about energy. Everything requires energy. The car or bus that takes you to school or drives you from place to place uses energy. Energy is needed to keep the lights on in your house. You need energy in order to function. So does your cat, and your dog, and this squirrel, and your favorite plant. Energy is defined as the ability to do work or make things happen, or make things change. Work means putting a force on an object and causing that object to move. When we're talking about a moving car, it's easy to appreciate that work is being done. The energy that is used by combusting, that means burning, the gasoline, causes the pistons to create a force that pushes on the wheel and makes the car move. In electrical wires, there are tiny charged particles that are being pushed around by electromagnetic forces. Even in you, chemical energy is used to move your muscles and pump around your blood and carry out many of the processes that keep you alive. There are two main types of energy: kinetic energy and potential energy. Potential energy is energy that is stored or pent up in an object. It has the potential to do work if it's released. However, an object with potential energy is not doing work at the moment. Examples of types of potential energy include gravitational potential energy. One example is a roller coaster. When it gets to the top of the hill, for just a moment, it stays almost still, but then it starts rolling down faster and faster and faster. Elastic potential energy is another kind of potential energy, and one example of this is a spring that is compressed. That means squeezed together. If you let go of one end, the spring will expand again to reach its natural position. Something similar happens if you stretch the spring. Once you let it go, it's going to snap back and it will oscillate. That means move back and forth until it reaches its natural position. A stretched rubber band also has potential energy. Chemical potential energy is the energy that's stored in a substance because of the chemical bonds formed by the atoms that make it up. Nuclear energy is the energy stored inside an atom by the forces that hold the atom together. Now let's talk about kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is energy an object possesses because of its motion. The way to know if something has kinetic energy is to see if there is something moving. One type of kinetic energy is motion energy, and this is the kind of kinetic energy you get when something is moving from one place to another, like a car, or a bike, or a roller coaster moving downhill. Another type is sound energy. What you hear when you hear sound is produced when a force causes a substance like air to vibrate. Energy is transferred through the substance as a sound wave and to your ear. Thermal energy, also known as heat energy, is another form of kinetic energy. We're going to talk about this a lot in the next video. Radiant energy is what we call the energy from light. Radiant energy warms our planet. It's the kind of energy we are trying to capture when we use solar cells. We also use radiant energy to cook our food and to do many other things. Electrical energy is the movement of electrical charges. The law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed from one type of energy to another. And this is very important and will be very important in upcoming lessons. One example of an energy transformation is a skateboarder at the top of the hill. The skateboarder will have gravitational potential energy, but this will change to kinetic energy once the skateboarder starts moving down the hill. A water droplet at the top of a waterfall has gravitational potential energy, but it will have kinetic energy once it starts moving over the falls. Chemical energy from firewood can be used to heat a house. The energy is transformed from chemical potential energy to heat energy. Solar cells can take radiant, which is light energy from the sun, and change it into electricity. You should now be able to explain what energy is and give an example. You should be able to compare and contrast potential energy and kinetic energy. Identify different types of energy that are used in everyday life, and explain how energy can be converted from one type to another.